Hey everybody, it's Jennifer J. Welcome back to Moving Forward. I'm really glad you joined me today. I am going to talk about something that I've talked about before, so if you are a regular on the podcast, you are going to have heard this before, but I hope you'll hang in there with me. It could be that it's because God wants you to hear it again, and you're not here by accident, so please stay tuned. It's out of my book, You Can't Be Like Jonah, 1,200 Miles to Obedience. If you haven't got the book yet, you can get it on Amazon. It is also, I was so excited this week, you guys. I learned that it is now being sold in Singapore and also New Zealand. So last week I learned it was being sold in France and Germany. So it is making its way around the globe, and I'm very excited about that. I also landed number 4 in the top 8 books on one of critics' lists this week, so that was also exciting. And I'm going to talk to you out of chapter 11. So we talked about this once before, and it's about how to hear God. And this is just a template. So this isn't like the end all be all. Everybody hears God's voice the way they hear God's voice. And I'm reminded, and I think I may have said this before to you, but I'm reminded of the dream that Pharaoh had when he dreamed about the drought that was going to come. So, or the famine. He dreamed about the cows, and then he dreamed about the corn in the same night, and nobody could interpret the dream. But Joseph came and interpreted the dream, right? And he told him, because he dreamed it twice, that's God saying he means to do this thing. So that was, serious business because he dreamed it twice. So that's how God talks to me oftentimes, is through repeating himself. And so I try to listen when things get repeated in my face many times over. And that happened, I'll give one example. When I first learned who T.D. Jakes was, right? So my niece mentioned that she listened to T.D. Jakes. 30 minutes later, my brother-in-law mentions that he listens to T.D. Jakes. Out of 2 separate conversations. We weren't together when she mentioned it. And then the next day, I walk into the elder's office, and the only thing on the credenza is a book on display by T.D. Jakes. That told me I needed to look into who this man was and what is God trying to tell me through him. And he has taught me so many things. But in this one, this is a template by Antoinette Staples. And I can't remember if she did a sermon on this or if she did a podcast. It doesn't really matter. It's her words. But she says, when God's talking to you, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel uncomfortable. And I did. When I was leaving, or when I was told to move to Arizona and to leave Kansas, I was living in a house that had one child here north of me with 3 of my grandbabies, and another child here south of me with 2 of my grandbabies. And I was 10 minutes away from both of them. I was in the perfect position to spend as much time as I wanted with them. I had just moved there. I closed on that house September 30th. Nope, it was sooner than that. I did close on it September 30th, I apologize. But earlier in September, God already had the pieces moving. September 21st is when he started moving the pieces as I go back through the timeline. And I'm sure he was moving pieces long before that. But for me, what I can dissect out of it, September 21st. So 9 days before I actually even closed on the house. Things were moving. And when I was buying things for the house, I was buying new rugs and I was buying new furniture, and I had this nagging in the back of my mind the whole time that I shouldn't be doing it. And I couldn't figure it out because I'm like, I need things for the house, right? Like, I need furniture. And I kept feeling like he was telling me not to do it. And it's because I wasn't gonna live there. So anyway, she says you're gonna feel uncomfortable. And I did. I did not want to leave. And she also says you'll have natural breaks in relationships. natural breaks in relationships. This isn't you deciding all of a sudden you're not going to, be friends with this person or that, whatever. But just natural breaks. And I had that too. I had been separated from my husband for 3 years. We hadn't divorced, but things had grown kind of quietly. We grew apart. We had been very amicable at the beginning, and then it had gotten to a point that we needed to get a divorce. And so that was just a natural break. It wasn't sudden. I also had some friends that have been really good friends when I had gone to my first church that I went to for so long. And over time and because of the course of things that had happened, we had just kind of become friendly, friendly on Sunday morning. We weren't really hanging out. We weren't calling each other, but it was just kind of natural. It wasn't a sudden thing. We had natural breaks in relationships. There will be supernatural open or closed doors. And I certainly had that, when I prayed about having a ministry, and he immediately had the interview with OCJ Kids come on the radio. I'm in Kansas and they're interviewing someone from Phoenix. And even like for the church, praying about the church, and then here's the church handed to me on silver platter. Supernatural open and closed doors, even TD Jakes, that was just something that was supernatural. My sister buying a house in Arizona from Connecticut just on a whim, and then me living there when she's not even around for 3 months, that's supernatural. He was definitely opening doors. You're going to have a clear word that's going to resonate with you. The word move, I had a clear word. I had a very clear word. He put it on a banner in the church, hanging above the door even, it was in my face. I had a clear word. And you'll have a community to help. And I had that also. My kids were so wonderful. I was afraid to tell each of them, but each one of them was very supportive and gave me a lot of encouragement. I had the encouragement from my church, my new church home. My pastor agreed that what I was being told was from God, and he couldn't wait for me to get here. I definitely had the community behind me. So I know that I can fill all these, and you don't need to fill every single one. I hit all 5 markers. So this helped me to confirm this is really God telling me this, and I'm not just making this stuff up. But with you might not have all 5. That doesn't mean he's not talking to you. If any of these resonate with you, if something resonates that you feel like maybe it's God, but you're not sure, but one of these 5 markers resonates with you, either you're feeling uncomfortable, or you've had natural breaks in relationships, you've had a supernatural door opened or closed, you have a clear word that resonates with you, you have a community that's helping and supporting. These are all ways that God talks to us. And so ways that you can know that you're hearing from him. And really, until you get into the word and you're reading the word every day and praying about it, God tells us he'll give us wisdom if we ask for it. So if you're asking for it and you're reading his word, he is going to speak to you. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to keep his word. He is faithful. He does not lie. He cannot lie. And so if you ask for that, he's going to, and you're going to learn to hear his voice. You're going to understand what it sounds like. I had one person tell me recently, yeah, it sounds just like your own voice, but you didn't think of it, or something like that. And I said, no, that's not how it sounds to me. And they were surprised, because that's how it sounds to them. But you're going to know his voice. You're going to know his voice, and you won't have to question or wonder. Once you get used to hearing his voice, you won't ever question if it's him. And so reading every day and praying every day is vital to that, because as you move, okay, so God says, if you draw near to me, I'll draw near to you. And he says, my sheep will know my voice and they'll follow me. But if you don't draw near to him, if you're not in his word and not in prayer, and I've done this, you guys, I'm guilty. I've gotten where things are going really good and I have a busy day and maybe I got up late. And so I jump right into my day and I don't take the time to spend in his word. That can become a habit very quickly. And as you pull away from God, he doesn't move, but you do. You move away and it gets harder and harder to hear his voice. So imagine that you're in the house. You're sitting next to someone on the sofa and they're talking to you and they're easy to hear. Now imagine they get up and they go in the other room and now they're talking to you from the other room. And if they don't turn up their volume, you're not going to hear them, right? If they don't speak louder, and even sometimes then you can't tell what they're saying. It's muffled, right? So as we move away from God, it's the same way. You can't hear his voice, and he doesn't yell at us usually. He still talks. It's a still small voice. He still talks, but he's not turning up the volume most generally. So if you pull away from him, you're not going to be able to hear him as clearly. So you need to stay close. Stay on the sofa with your Jesus. It's so important. Never, 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 never say you don't have time, even when you get up late. I can attest to this. It has happened more than once, many times. I can't even tell you how many times. You're running late and you feel like you don't have time for Jesus because you're going to be late. You know what? Jesus is more important than anything you're going to be late to. But also, I have found that when you make the time for him, he works it all out. I was late to a meeting once, and guess what? Everyone else was late too, and the meeting hadn't started. It wasn't even a big deal. Other times, he has given me more time. Traffic was nil. I hit every green light. It was no trouble. I got there faster than I had ever gotten there before. He does things like that. He opens supernatural doors. So don't miss out on those blessings. You might think you're running late, but you're not doing yourself any good. You're doing yourself an injustice if you don't make time for the Lord first. So I would really encourage you to do that. And then look for these 5 markers. And if you want to read about them, they're in chapter 11. So I hope that you will. And remember that when you do buy a book, right now, all of the proceeds are going right back into the ministry. I have committed that forever, 25% of the proceeds will go back into the ministry. So you are helping further God's kingdom by purchasing a book as we come alongside orphans and widows. And sharing the gospel, of course, worldwide. So I hope that you'll do that. Again, that was out of chapter 11. If you're looking for it and you have the book, if you haven't got it, I hope you will. If you do have it, I hope you'll make a comment. Let me know what you think, or if you're reading it, where you're at. If you have questions, there are a lot of study questions at the end of the chapters, reflection questions. So I hope that you will fill those out. And if you want to do it on a different piece of paper, I recommend, like some people are doing it in their prayer journal because they don't want to write in the book because they want to let someone borrow the book. I would recommend that you write the question down in your journal too. Don't just write the answer, because you'll forget later when you go back to read through that, you'll forget what the question was. So some of the questions are kind of long, well, because they give like this one, the top one, it's kind of long because it gives a little explanation first, but I still recommend that you write that all out and then answer the question so that you have context to it when you go back to read it. Maybe next year you're going to flip through that and it will help you to remember. But some people aren't wanting to write in it because they want to, give it to their sister or whoever. So anyway, I hope that that was helpful to you, and I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you will be in the Word and also be in prayer to our Heavenly Father. He loves you so much, and so do I. And I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.